I'm here to pump you up.
Yes. Oh my gosh, I totally forgot about him. I'm Hans und I'm Franz,
And we
and
here
we're
to
here
pump
to
you
pump
up.
you up. Oh my gosh. Yes, I love it. Good morning, everybody, and welcome to Real Men, Real Talk, where we talk about what most men won't talk about. Today, we got a great episode for you, which, oh, by the way, this is the kitchen table edition of Real Men, Real Talk. Tilghman is in the studio as always.
Yes, sir.
So today we're I wanted to address an issue that I hear a lot of men ask questions about. And I've seen it on Reddit in a number of the men's groups that we're a part of because we're an underwear company. So like we kind of deal a bit with men's issues. A lot of the questions can come from younger guys who are like, hey, I'm about to like go off into the world and I don't know what to do. What's like the most important to remember about being a man? And it sounds tropey, but honestly, there's a reason why it's a trope. And the one thing that I've always said, the one thing that has helped me out so much, and I recommend to everybody who asks the question, find a group of good men. And today we're going to be diving into that topic a little bit deeper, a little bit more into the nuance of it, a little bit of how to do it, and some of the basic structure you can work on so that when you find a group of men, you find a good group of men and you can sustain it for a bit longer and you're just kind of checking some boxes to make sure you're doing it right. And there is a right and a wrong way to do it. So, intro out of the way, here's the basics of it. Every man needs a mentor, they need peers, and they need mentees. Now, the mentees, not mentees, by the way, link down below. The mentees may come along, like they'll come and go. They might not be there to start, but we're going to start at sort of like the headwaters of where good advice, like fatherly love, comes from. And that's with the kind of a mentor stage. Now, if you came from a whole home and you had a dad and a mom, like somebody to mentor you and pour into you, that's great. To be honest, that's not most people's story. So that's why I'm focusing a lot on where you are right now. And we're talking to men who are already out of the house. We're just going to sort of shelve the whole thing about how well they were fathered or how badly they were fathered. We're just going to put that aside for right now. So starting out with the mentor, some of the things you need to look for, they need to be not into it for themselves. Like you're not there to like feed their ego and to make them feel like a good person. They need to love you like unconditionally, like really cheer you on, but they need to also call you out when you're doing something wrong. When they feel, because you've established a relationship, they feel that you are not living up to your full potential. So that's kind of where we're going to start. So Tilghman, I pass it to you. What do you have as far as stories with mentors? Good, bad, in between? What's been going on?
Well, so when I was a kid, I was part of I went to the Mormon church, and typically it's pretty normal to have missionaries come to your house for dinner from time to time. And one of these missionaries, his name's Cody. I won't call him the elder. He's not an elder anymore, but his name's Cody. And he served his mission here, and we established this really good relationship when I was like 10 or 11 years old, just like a big brother figure. And, fast forward quite a few years, he started working in the solar industry, and he called me up one day and he was like, "Hey, do you want to come work solar and be door-to-door salesman and stuff?" I was like, "Yeah, I'll give it a shot. Why not? Let's go for it. Door-to-door sales for solar." And then along the way, he started like mentoring some of the guys within the company, outside of the company, and just doing like weekly phone calls, weekly checkups with our personal goals, where we want to be in 5 years, where we want to be in 10 years. And it wasn't all based around the company. So he was establishing something more than just a work-based mentorship. It was more for life and stuff like that. And I remember pretty specifically because he lives in Las Vegas and I'm in Wichita, Kansas. So he was like, "Hey, what book do you want to read this month?" And he'd be sending us books. And like I remember one time he sent us this book called "What It Takes to Be Number One." I forget the name of the author, but so he sent this book that said what it takes to be number one, and I read it, and it's just like, holy cow, this is everything that he's been preaching on, talking about. And long story short, the mentorship was, I call it a mentorship, but it felt like a lifelong mentoring, because I can still call him up to this day and be like, hey man, I'm struggling with this thing, I need some ideas and stuff. And he's one of those guys, he will call you out if you're messing up. Like, he's one of those guys, like, if you tell him you're going to go work out with him tomorrow and you're not up, he's going to be knocking on your door like, hey, you better be lacing up your freaking shoes, man, I'm on your way, I'm on the way. And so definitely one of those guys that's going to push you to your limits. And just thinking about mentors in my life, he's one of those ones that was really a positive experience for me. And in the long run, working with him and then being mentored by him, it really, just talking about it now is really saying where it's led me to up to this moment. Because honestly, if it wasn't for him in my life, I probably wouldn't. I tell myself I wouldn't be that hard of a worker, or maybe I wouldn't be giving it my all. Because sometimes, I'll be honest with you, sometimes I hear his voice like, hey, you better be lacing up, we're getting after it today. So so if that doesn't
Oh,
tell
that's
you
good.
something about a good mentor, I don't know what does. So that's just one example that I've had in my life.
Okay. So it seems like it was a net positive.
Yes, very positive, very positive.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I'll say for myself, I've had both good and bad. Um, let's see, what kind of good story would be here? So as far as mentors go, I'll speak to like what's current. Let's say that. So currently, as far as mentors go, I have a group of guys that we just basically do a fire pit about every week. Every now and then I miss because like got a date or something with my wife, or going on a trip. Like it's very kind of low key. But what's been really helpful is around this fire pit, you get guys of all ages. Right now, most of them are older, like 70s, 60s. I got one guy who's about the same age as me, and every now and then we had this one young guy who he was just getting into college, and so he was very fresh. As my wife would say, he was a smooth boy, like, like a round faced smooth boy. And what I've found is we've established over the course of about 5 years this sort of long ongoing conversation about life. And it having that space just sort of gives the opportunity to say, hey, here's where I'm at. Here's what I'm struggling with. Here's where I want to be better and I'm not. Here's a small victory that I just had, or here's a big victory. I finally did XYZ. Like when I started working for Real Men, I had been working for this cabinet shop for a while, and great cabinet shop, great place to work, but the pay wasn't very good. And I've got a wife and 3 kids. So when I finally moved on to making a little bit more money here at Real Men, it was like just to have older men who have been witnessing my story for the past 5 years say, we are so happy for you, man, it's about time. Like, so glad for you. Glad you're being recognized for the skills that you have. And you probably weren't the best cabinet maker to start with. No, they didn't say that. I think I was all right. But yeah, just to be witnessed by an older man just provided this stability to my life where when the storms came, it wasn't that big of a deal. And I will say, just like when you're looking for a mentor, just somebody to witness your life, you do need to be very careful. Like, nobody's perfect. Like, I'm sure Tilghman, like with your mentor, he's not perfect. Like, he's going to mess up. He's going to have his own selfishness kind of playing in there. He's going to have things that he's trying to validate in himself. Like, well, if I have mentees, then I'm a good person. Like
Right.
that. I get it. I totally get it. So when you're looking for somebody to kind of model your life after, a lot of that can happen from books or podcasts. Find somebody who's living the life that you want to live and then pay attention, walk in their footsteps. But you're never going to find somebody perfect. So I hope that makes sense, guys. So that's going to sort of close the mentor section.
Hey guys, so Future Chris here. So we found that this episode was actually maybe a little bit longer than we normally would do. So what we're going to do is cut this into 3 parts. This one was about our mentors, and the next one will be about peers and how easily you can communicate kind of across the field of men that you're doing life with. So we look forward to seeing you there. We'll see you next time.